So should we have introduced you as Nighthawk or Dragon?
Um, Probably Dragon. I mean, if I was going to be a Step Brothers character, it'd probably be Will Ferrell.
Yeah, thanks for having me, fellas.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh man, thank you for having me, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm doing good. How are you?
It's my pleasure, man. This will be fun. I'm happy to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to be on the show. Be a fan of Moneyball now, forever.
Awesome.
Love it.
Hello, Moneyballers. This is Donovan D. Money Scott. I have with me Jason Ball, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Eric Wood, color commentator for the Buffalo Bills, and had a great tenure as center with the Buffalo Bills. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Want to go more into, right off the bat, a little more into, I guess, your story of football. On Moneyball, we like to kind of get to know the individual. I treat it as maybe having a conversation, you and I having a beer at a bar or something, right? So how'd you get involved with football? And tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I started playing football when I was 9 years old. I was too big to play when I was any younger than that in the Catholic school system in Cincinnati. Went to Elder High School. We had a great high school team, nationally ranked pretty much all throughout my high school career. And I wasn't even truly a starter until my senior year. I was, kind of a rotational tight end my junior year, put on a bunch of weight for my senior year, and had been a football player, a basketball player, played well enough to get one scholarship offer to the University of Louisville, which was a complete blessing. It worked out perfectly, and I had no decision fatigue. There was no other options. There wasn't hey, maybe if this doesn't work, I can transfer somewhere else. There was only one Division I school that wanted me, so it made it very easy to go there, go all in on that, and end up being a 4-year starter there. Didn't miss a single game there, and ended up being a first-round draft pick to the Bills 4 years later.
Number 28 overall, I think, right?
Correct.
Yeah, man, phenomenal. I didn't know that you had no other offers. I had thought there was Bowling Green or a couple of Ohio schools that were interested, no?
They recruited me, but no official offers. And once you commit to a school, then, other schools will come and say, hey, we'd love to get you in on a visit. And I'm like, hey, it's all good. I made my decision. Yeah. I'm confident in it.
There's a lot of great talent that comes out of that school. Tell me a little bit about the atmosphere at Louisville.
Yeah, we had a really talented squad. That was during Bobby Petrino's first tenure. Okay. So Gator Bowl, Orange Bowl, a lot of success early on, ranked in the top 10 during each of my first couple years on campus. So we had a lot of success early on. Michael Bush, Brian Brom were homegrown products in Louisville. Brian was on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a junior in high school. And I used to joke with my buddies that, I went to Louisville because Brian was going there, opportunity to block for the Gatorade National Player of the Year. But really, like I mentioned before, I only had one scholarship offer. So that was simply luck that he ended up staying at home and going to Louisville. So, we had NFL talent all over the board while I was at Louisville. Bobby Petrino, his image has taken a big hit over the last maybe 15, 20 years, but one heck of a ball coach and a guy that can truly push you to the limits. And, his philosophy was, hey, I'm going to make it so hard on you in practice that the games feel easy and you'll have fun during the games. We're going to put a lot of pressure on you in practice. And that was the case. But because of that, especially a guy with not much experience, especially playing offensive line, coming into college, for me, I was like a sponge, and he could just mold me into the type of player he wanted. I'd never played center in my life before. He taught me how to snap a football. And so I owe a lot to Bobby Petrino and have a tremendous amount of respect for him as ball coach.
I absolutely love that you just said that, especially the fact, like you had mentioned, his name's been drugged through a little bit, right? This is the guy that taught you how to play and perfect your craft. And despite anything, else that happened, that's the reality of it. I was going to ask you, actually, and you hit on it, center.
Right.
And you had mentioned you were playing tight end in high school and everything. So when that day came, how was that transformation? Like, was it just like, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, you got to put your pride aside a little bit. So I had to put
Yeah.
on 50 pounds between my junior and senior year of high school. And then, my junior year of high school, I was 6'4", 205 pounds. And then I go into the University of Louisville and I'm right around 300. So in about 18 months, put on about 100 pounds. So complete body transformation. Got to put your pride aside. No chance of ever scoring a touchdown ever again. I'll say this, the offensive line is generally the tightest group on the team, and we all are working together. You have a band of brothers. You have a built-in kind of fraternity up there on the offensive line, and because of that, we have a ton of fun together. And we take pride in, look, we're going to do our job so that those that are going to get their names in the paper can do theirs. And we're going to get credit from within, and that's completely fine with us. I did a speaking gig for Duval Safety up in Buffalo this summer. They had a safety convention.
Okay.
And I used a lot of similarities between the safety industry and the offensive line. Like oftentimes the bottom line numbers on a construction site, a construction job, depend on there not being any big safety errors.
Absolutely.
Well, no one comes to work on a day-to-day basis and says, thank God we have the safety guys. No one's looking at the exterior of this beautiful building in downtown Buffalo saying, man, thank God we had all the safety guys there. But they're the ones that allowed it to happen. They're the ones that allowed that building to be on time and to operate on the proper budget. And that's kind of like the offensive line. Like we operate so that everyone else can get the credit, and that's completely fine. And once you get to the NFL, you're rewarded appropriately. Good friends of mine caught a lot of touchdowns in the NFL and wish they were paid like left tackles were.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. That's a great point. And I
Eric,
like the analogy too, Go ahead, Jay. You got a question for Eric?
Yeah, I got to ask you, because you guys were talking about scoring a touchdown and whatnot. Throughout your career and like towards the end of your career, did you ever have the urge to go up to, one of the coaches and be like, hey, man, let me have one catch out here? Like,
I got a good story on that. So
All
my
right.
rookie year, I played field goal, and I was a tight end on field goal on the PAT field goal unit. And during practice one day, Bobby April was the Bills special teams coach at the time. We're running a fake field goal, and it's set up for me to catch a touchdown. Well, 2 days before the game, we're running through the play, and I drop it. And I'm pissed off, and we're in the Bills stadium. We don't often practice in the stadium, but occasionally if we're playing a home game, we'll go out there and play, especially if it's going to be similar conditions, maybe a little slick or whatever. Make sure your shoes are going to be good on that turf because all turf is different. So I take the ball, I punt it into the stands because I'm all ticked off. And we're watching film that Saturday, and Bobby April said, hey, the bad news is we're going to take Eric out of this tight end spot on the field goal unit just because we can't risk not catching the ball. But the good news is we have a backup punter. And so he showed the clip of me putting the ball into the stands. And that stinking Sunday, Ryan Denny, who they put into that position, catches a touchdown against the Saints.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
I actually remember that. I remember Denny. I think he may have caught 2 in his lifetime, maybe, but I certainly remember Denny catching a touchdown.
Yep. Yeah, I did recover a few fumbles in my career.
Yes, you did. Yeah, quite a few. Bottom of the pile stuff. Give me an inside. Let's let all the viewers here. Give me the inside the bottom of the pile, Eric. How's that go?
Impulse is revolutionizing the physical therapy experience for active individuals in Western New York. From marathon runners to warriors of the weight room, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge technology takes sports-specific testing to the next level. Our patient-centered approach lets you drive your own recovery. You can expect individualized one-on-one sessions every time you're here. And the game changer? Impulse is home to Western New York's only public board-certified sports PT. If you're ready to get back in the game, call Impulse today and mention Moneyball for $100 off your first visit.
It's generally probably not as dirty as you think.
No?
And part of the reason for that is the TV cameras pick up everything nowadays. So maybe in the old days where you could get away with some dirty stuff at the bottom of a pile, nowadays all that's going to be on camera, on film. And look, most of the guys you play against on Sunday, yes, you're competing. Yes, you want to beat the crap out of them during the game, but you have a certain level of respect and brotherhood through, hey, we're both out here doing our job. Like, I want to completely dominate you during this game, but I want you to walk in the door tonight and hug your wife and kiss your kids goodnight. Like, I do not want to intentionally hurt you throughout this game and prevent you from missing further games. I'm not going to grab your junk at the bottom of the pile. I'm not going to twist your ankle. Are there times where I play against somebody who I despise, and I don't know if that's something they may have said prior, maybe it's a college deal or something.
Sure.
Yeah, I've played guys like that, but I want to kick their tail in between the whistles. And so it's generally not as dirty as you think. Now, if that ball's loose on the ground and there's a huge pile up, are you grabbing someone's arm? Or I say all this like, yes, it's physical. Right. And there's painful things that go on, but kind of the day and age of like, you know, you hear back
Bill Romanowski's.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff nowadays would be picked up on camera. You'd get fined once. If you did it again, you'd get triple the fine. Right. And despite how often some guys get fined, most of us like to keep the money we make on Sundays.
You know, that was a great segue because I guess when people listen to you as color commentator, and you do such a good job, man, you truly do. I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here talking with us, but you really do a good job. And I'm 45 years old, you know, so I've been able to live through quite a few color commentators, and I can truly say you do a good job. So when I was doing a little bit of research, I read that the scouts really wanted you because of the quote dirty style, or the aggressive dirty style. And I'm like, Eric, you would? Like, this doesn't seem like it, right?
Yeah, I saw the same thing. I was surprised.
Right? Did you have a reputation for that?
A little bit. And some of that's just, you know, when you're finishing guys at the end of a play, like that kind of stuff is how you earn a reputation from your teammates around the league, being able to dominate a guy, and you're doing it in a clean way. And, you know, I was one of the most physical, but not necessarily dirty players, if that makes sense.
Right. No, it does. Finishing your play, right? You're going to finish.
Like I'm not going to take a shot on a guy when he's not looking. Generally, now I did light up Clay Matthews one time during a game, and it was right as he turned his head. It wasn't a shot in the back, but he also had taken a shot on our quarterback earlier in the game. You know, it's kind of like the hockey rules. Like if you take a shot on our guy, our quarterback, hell, if you take a shot on our O lineman and you hit him straight up and you crush him, it is what it is. We hit for a living. You take a shot on our quarterback when he's not out there. That's like your star hockey player that doesn't hit. You're Sidney Crosby. You take out Sidney Crosby, you're going to get lit up. You take out Ovechkin. Ovechkin hits. Yeah. You know, it's not going to be the same retaliation. And so, but look, I mean, part of what I loved about playing football was how physical it was. And, you know, it's a sick deal, but most guys in the NFL love the physicality of football. And that was one of the things that drew the scouts to me coming out of college.
I love it. I would take, 5 Eric Woods on the line of every Bills season. And I'm sure most other teams would agree with that sentiment. I do want to ask you one thing that has been a topic of conversation a lot recently, not involving you, but just a general opinion. I really wanted your opinion on this. The offsetting flags. The 15-yard, right? Like there was an incident, Bills game, or actually the whole weekend, it seems like there was scuffles all weekend with teams.
Right.
Like there was brawls before the games. I don't know what they're feeding these guys or what's going on, man, but they're like rabid animals coming out. And even Monday night as well. And then, during the game, you can have a 15-yard personal foul, helmet to helmet, whatever. But there was a 5-yard holding call, and it's offsetting fouls. Do you think there needs to be a change there? I mean, I think it's crazy.
I do. And to me, I don't know what the exact rules should be, what should come out of this. But to me, there's a big difference between a guy lined up in the neutral zone and then a personal foul at the end of the play. An illegal formation by the offense, which is a 5-yard penalty. It's a lineman error. But if they have a roughing the passer and potentially ruin our season,
right,
then those are going to offset. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense at all. And so, and then when you look at the Bills-Giants game in particular, the Giants have 3 personal foul penalties, one of which was a complete cheap shot on Spencer Brown, who's not even looking. Like, to me, that's cowardly stuff.
I agree.
Like, Deion Dawkins and whoever he was getting into it with, like, that was a one-on-one. Deion was blocking him. They were going at it. Spencer Brown gets taken out and he's not looking. Like, to me,
twice.
Yeah. To me, that's weak. and they had 3 personal fouls to R1. Now it only moves the ball 1 yard in that instance. The Bills still score a touchdown on the play. I thought Leonard Williams should have been ejected from that game.
I totally
just
agree.
Because that's not a football play.
Right.
Like there's a huge difference between, look, you're expecting defenders, the shots in the head down the field, those bang bang plays, you're going after the quarterback and he's about to release it and you hit him and you land your body on him. Like we're over 300 pounds. It's not that easy for us to not land on a guy and hold up at times. Like there's a huge difference between that and taking a cheap shot on a guy after a play. I say all that. I think that something needs to be addressed where, okay, an alignment doesn't offset a personal foul penalty, and multiple personal fouls should, like that should hurt that team harder than the team that got one.
There's no question. And to be honest, it was infuriating, to see that the Spencer Brown play in particular is what I was referring to. And then right before it, and a guy's throwing a punch there in the pile. And like you said, ineligible downfield. It just doesn't make sense. So hopefully, they address that in the offseason at the meetings. But I absolutely, wanted your take and wholeheartedly agree with you there. Jay, you're up. You got one?
Yeah, well, I would love to hear about the year you made the Pro Bowl. I mean, that had to be a really special moment for you. I think you went there with Tyrod and Richie, right?
Yep.
Like how did that make you feel? I mean, after all these years of hard work and injuries and everything like that, and you finally get to make a Pro Bowl. Tell me about that experience.
It was really awesome. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity. When you play in Western New York in a smaller market and you are playing in the longest playoff drought in all of pro sports, it's tough to make the All-Star game. I don't care if that's hockey, I don't care if that's football, whatever it is. In that situation, it's tough to make the All-Star game. I was an alternate a couple times prior, so to be able to make it, and I also was on IR a couple seasons, so to be able to make the Pro Bowl was incredible. And look, you make one, you think you're going to make a ton, and I go on IR the next year, and the following year, my career ends with a neck injury. So you think you're going to play in 7 consecutive, and that's just not what happens. And I'm extremely grateful to be able to go out to Hawaii. We brought 14 people with us, and it was the last Pro Bowl in Hawaii. We had the party with us at all times. And the Pro Bowl is as much fun as you would think it'd be. And with the game being as kind of watered down as it is, which – my opinion on that is that game is a celebration, not a competition. And so, like, for all those looking and saying, man, this isn't even a football game, like, that's fine. You're still watching and it's still catching better ratings than NBA playoff games. So, like, let's not critique it too much, but it was a special week. And it's one of those deals. And you guys know this in your guys' profession. I made one Pro Bowl. For the rest of my life, I get introduced as Pro Bowl center Eric Wood. Right. If I don't make the Pro Bowl that year, I'm Pro Bowl center Eric Wood. It's like one thing can change your reputation for life, and that's one of those instances.
Yeah. Now, did Richie make that trip any more fun? Was
Richie's a lot of fun, and we could have a whole podcast talking about Richie, and I truly love that guy. We spent a lot of time together. He was just in Buffalo with me for my charity event for the Evan Wood Fund, and he gets a bad rap at times, but all in all, he's a lot of fun. He's hilarious. And 99% of people really enjoy their time spent around him.
Anyone who's played with him, to get to know the man, always shares the same sentiment that he's an awesome guy. He's somebody you want and anybody who's played against him, it's like, man, I hate that guy.
Right.
But that's good. That's the type of guy you want playing with you,
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the Evan Wood, the charity. Tell us a little bit about that and how anyone's able to donate or get involved.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the Evan Wood Fund started as the Eric Wood Foundation. And really, when it was the Eric Wood Foundation, it was still in honor of my little brother. A couple years ago, I switched the name to truly honor him so that one day he'll have a legacy in Western New York, even though he never walked, talked, or breathed on his own. My little brother Evan passed of severe cerebral palsy when he was 11 years old. And so he never got a chance to play football. He never even got a chance to walk, but he'll have a legacy in Western New York based upon the impact that the Evan Wood Fund strives to have on families that have sick children, sick, disabled children. We want to provide them with incredible experiences and financial support. And we always say, look, we're probably not going to cure cancer or cerebral palsy or anything else, But if we can lighten the load on these families that are going through tremendous emotional, physical, financial stress, then we did a job well done. And all the money raised for the Evan Wood Fund stays in Western New York. I was instructed early on in life that you be generous with those that really helped you along the way.
Absolutely.
And I was able to create generational wealth for our family by playing football in Western New York. And I'm passionate about giving back to that community. And something that I'm passionate about is helping out families that have sick and disabled children.
Very, very well
and
said.
you asked where you can donate.
Yeah.
If you Google the Evan Wood Fund, it's switched a couple times, the web address, but then my website, ericwoodmedia.com, has a link to it.
We'll make sure to put when we edit, we'll make sure to put the link up there as well. And that's very well said. I don't know how my wife and I got into a conversation the other day, but it was about exactly that, and it was about what the families, go through. Obviously, you have the physical impairment of the said individual, but then the families, about changing the lifestyles and to get money, for say ramps or things like that they might not otherwise be able to afford, I think is awesome, man. So that's really cool that you.
Yeah, to your point, the divorce rate, if you have a sick or disabled child, is over 90%.
Saw that's crazy.
Yep. And then like my thing is, a lot of these families are in a financial struggle because of nothing they've done.
Right.
They had a sick child. Yeah. And now one of the parents has to quit their job. Maybe both have to quit their job because they want to spend these final remaining months with their child. And they say, look, if we lose our house, that's fine, but I need to spend this time with my child.
Absolutely.
And so for me, we're blessed with two healthy children. If we can help out those families in need, then I'll do anything I can for them.
Extremely well said, man. And I absolutely agree. How old are your kids now?
My kids are 8 and 5.
8 and 5. All right. Jay's got 2 boys.
Yeah.
I have 3 boys, all under 10 years old. So we're living it with you, buddy. We're living
Right. Mine are 7 and 4, so we're right there, man.
You have boy and a girl, right?
Yeah, we went girl then boy.
Girl then boy. Okay. So is she involved with sports or with dance, or what's she doing?
She's doing dance right now and tumbling and some gymnastics and all that. And she's got such great hand-eye coordination. It drives me nuts. She plays golf in the summer. She'll do like the little junior golf at our club here in Louisville. But she's the hand-eye coordination one in the family. And she doesn't have the competitive itch or the aggressiveness. And my son, who's 5, which I know he can grow into it, he doesn't quite have the hand-eye coordination, but he's a bull in a china shop out there. So it cracks me up when my son might be practicing basketball and my daughter will come out and I'll be like, Grace, dribble back and forth with your hands, like back and forth between hands to 1,000. She'll do it. And Garrett will be so jealous. And they're 2.5 years apart. So that plays a factor, but it's amazing how naturally gifted she is. But at this point, she doesn't quite have the aggression.
That's not ending anytime soon. My 10-year-old and my soon-to-be 8-year-old boys just battle constantly. And, I keep warning Deacon, my older one, that, Jackson's getting pretty thick. And I said, you're going to push him, man. You're going to push him, and he's going to knock you out cold. And I don't want to hear anything because you pick on him and bully him all the time, which it infuriates me. But I said, I told Jackson, I said, one of these days, your brother keeps that up. Put him down, man. Show him what's up,
Right. Exactly. Luckily, my little brother is 6 years younger. Evan was in between us, and he's about 5'10", 175. So my day never came where I caught the bad end of it.
I'm surprised he wasn't in the I'm surprised he's not a black belt, man.
Right. Exactly.
Trying to defend himself against he would at home Thanksgiving time, right?
Exactly.
What's up, Moneyball family? I'm here to tell you about Smash Burgers from Buffalo Bros Burgers. Going to be opening a storefront in the village of Hamburg, and in the meantime, you can find them on the website wherever they're going to be in town. You're going to want to turn up and show out because they have some delicious burgers. Smash Burger is a couple of burgers smashed on a bun with some cheese dripping down. You hungry yet? Check out the Smash Burger from Buffalo Bros Burgers, man. It's good stuff.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to fire some rapid questions at you. Just 5 questions, just with a real quick answer so that the viewers can kind of get to know a little bit about you. Jay, you want to start us off with one?
Yeah. Favorite movie? What's your favorite movie of all time?
Probably Step Brothers.
That's a good one.
Yeah, when I take the time to watch a movie, I'm trying to like release in that. Like I don't want it. I don't need it to be too serious.
So should we have introduced you as Nighthawk or Dragon?
Probably Dragon. I mean, if I was going to be a Step Brothers character, it'd probably be Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Have to be. The hair too, man. I mean, you got those beautiful.
That's what I was referencing.
That lettuce that lettuce is just beautiful. The wings or the drums? Buffalo chicken wings.
So flats or drums?
Yeah.
I'll say drums. I feel like you get a little bit more meat.
Thank you, sir. Jay?
Did you ever collect sports cards?
I did as a kid.
And if you did, tell me maybe one or two of your favorite cards you ever had.
So I grew up in Cincinnati, and we idolized Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, when Ken Griffey Jr. came back to the Reds, born in Cincinnati, his dad played for the Reds, born in Cincinnati, went to high school there, went to play with his dad, got drafted and played with his dad in Seattle. When he came back to Cincinnati, we got out of school for the press conference. I mean, that's how big of a deal it was. Wow. So I was all in on Ken Griffey Jr. cards, and they're probably all sitting at my mom or my dad's house.
That's awesome.
Hope they're in decent shape, right? I mean,
I know
we've all lived through it, man, with these cards.
I know
so much money.
You know what's funny? Everyone kind of in our generation, we all think we're sitting on like millions of dollars worth of trading cards at our parents' houses.
Yeah. And then you go see them if you do find them and they're mangled, right? And the corners are all trashed. And do you collect now at all? Are you into the hobby at all now?
I don't. I've been introduced to Adam from David Adams. Yeah. And at some point, my little boy, I'm sure we'll get into it because he's obsessed with sports. So I'm sure we'll get into it. We're just not there yet. And I haven't got into like the buying and selling of it, but I'm a hustler by trade. So once I do, I'm sure I'll be all in on it. Are you guys in on it?
Yeah, we enjoy it.
I tell you, Jay here is real big in on it. I recently, a couple of years back, got into it. But Jay, he could definitely teach you a few things. He's taught me a few things.
I could pull out one of the Griffey rookies for you.
It's funny you say that because we had Coletta on one of our first episodes, and he was at David Adams, and he had pulled. What was that card he pulled, Jay?
It was it was a Joe Burrow like gold kaboom. I want to say
gold kaboom. Yeah, just this. So he was like, I went in there one day and they didn't have what I wanted. So I said, I'll just take this box instead. And he pulls this card that's worth what, out of $5,000.
Oh yeah. Five
grand, easy. And I'm like, Pat Coletta, you're the one that pulls that card. Right. And I'll I'll rack up all, and I'm aiming for this card, and no, I'm not getting that one, but it is a fun hobby. It's just real quick.
So I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. You know what? Our baseball cards down here are bourbon. People, I swear, everyone's so into bourbon nowadays, but not that many. Some will drink it, but you get a rare bottle and no one will drink it. People come over here and they'll see my bourbon closet and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I would kill to try it. And I'm like, you can open anything you want. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, well, you try Pappy for the first time. We'll remember this random Tuesday night forever. But really people down here treat bourbon. I guess globally they're starting to do it. I feel like it kind of started more in this region and now it's expanded where bourbon's huge everywhere. But that to me,
gone crazy, right?
That's like adult baseball cards. Adults are into baseball cards again because of the money behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of my bourbons.
Yeah. There you go.
See,
that's awesome.
Yeah. See, when you get it graded and everything, and there's a whole world of that stuff. We've actually had Jay had one of the guys who grades it. The HGH guy came on and kind of explained the process and. The money.
Not HGH. HGH is the stuff we not.
What is HGA?
HGA, yeah.
Okay, HGA. Sorry, yeah,
that's from a previous call Donovan had this morning.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll get back to him later. There were priorities. Yeah. So listen, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hopefully the viewers got to learn a little bit about E. Wood, right?
But I will say this. In seasons where it's going downhill in a hurry, you find things that you can like cling on to. And my boy Ryan Fitzpatrick, who will be back for Thursday Night Football next week in Buffalo, one of my best friends in this whole world. When we're down 3 scores, he's going to throw the team a few picks because Fitz thinks you can score 14 points in one throw. And so we would, as an offensive line, put up some incentives to see who could make the most tackles in a game, because if we get down, Fitz is going to chuck it around the yard.
That's
That
awesome,
is
man.
awesome.
That really is. And you know what keeps you guys going? And that, yeah, that's really cool. It's actually some inside info there. It's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
But thanks again, man. Really, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. You're doing an excellent job on 550. I really look forward. I actually turn the volume down on my games, and you know, I listen to you and Murph, and you do a great job. So thank you very much. Continue doing what you're doing, and sound like a real cool guy, man. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to be on the show. Be a fan of Moneyball now forever.
Awesome.